It has just been announced today, YNW Melly's attorney, David Howard, has filed for another mistrial in the rapper's double case. This occurred after everything had went down inside of the courtroom today. You need to hear this one. The court opened today with YNW Melly's lawyers arguing against the evidence that the prosecutors wanted to show today. The report goes on to share, YNW Melly's defense attorney objected to the presentation of text messages between the rapper and his mother in court on Wednesday. He's calling his mom many words in all sorts of manner of disrespect.
A number of mothers on that jury who may be inclined to convict just because they've heard irrelevant, unrelated conversations between Mr. Demons and his mother where he's calling her and all sorts and manner of disrespect that is clearly off-putting to anyone. And under the pretext that they're trying to prove this phone belongs and is being used by Mr. Demons, the state is offering in reams and reams, tons and tons of inadmissible evidence that is irrelevant to this case. There is a point at which they sat there for 2 hours showing 530-something photographs.
He does not want these text messages being shown to the jury as it shows YNW Melly in an overall negative light. Another report would go to share, yes, Mr. Howard, that's exactly what she is doing with these text messages. Trying to paint YNW Melly as a bad person any way that she can because she knows she doesn't have a strong case. She's taken on more than she can handle and overcharged. And she can't prove it, so she's using feelings instead of facts. As due to lack of evidence that the prosecution might have, instead they're just trying to show that YNW Melly is a bad person for how he talks to his mother. However, many believe these text messages that I'm about to share have a much deeper meaning and could even prove that he's guilty in this case. In these series of text messages, YNW Melly is the green text the entire time, meanwhile his mother, Jamie King, is the blue. As Melly is frustrated with his mother for bothering his ex-girlfriend, YNW Sakchaser, and YNW Sakchaser's sister.
From phone number 9807, why you keep messing with people? What's wrong with you?
Phone number ending in 6942. What are you talking about? I'm not even on no social media. That talking about what she going to do to me, I ain't respond or say anything.
Leave that alone. I'm telling you. You started off.
No, I didn't start anything. Just because you think it's okay for people to call your mom out her name. How is his sister going on social media talking about me in face, my fault?
You started it by testing his mama. It's going to be problems. And not even knowing what you're talking about. You a grown lady doing ain't no one telling you to text her. She minding her business going to work.
The start of their issues began with allegedly YNW Sakchaser's sister having an altercation with YNW Melly's mother on social media, where YNW Sakchaser's sister called her out by real name, stating that it's on site when she sees her, leading into YNW Sakchaser getting involved in the middle, which then would result in YNW Melly getting involved as well. This didn't settle well for YNW Melly, causing the argument with his mother. However, it did not end here.
She could have called me or texted me back, not have you or daughter all on social media talking about like I at her. I didn't even say one word when I texted her. I said nothing disrespectful and you know it. I wish you took up for me like that when Aunt me out and tried to me. I don't know what's all going on, but he making a live video talking about your mother. It's going to make people hate you. That's why I have never and would never do that, because I love you and that's your best friend and this is not for social media.
You telling everybody my business and you don't even be right. You the reason they hate me.
No, I'm not your actions I take up for you. I have people telling me your son doesn't care about you or love you. I always say you just finding your way, and I know you love even though you me and don't see how much I for you every day. I argue with people about talking trash about you, even though people say he would not take up for you like that. I always have your back. Every time you call, I am there. That's your friend, fine. He ain't going nowhere. I see, but you are not going to say everything is my fault.
In that section of text messages is where I believe brought up the famous video of YNW Melly's mother calling out YNW Sakchaser, as YNW Melly's mom mentioned something about a live video being created by Sakchaser, which is then what made YNW Melly's mom make her own.
Show me text messages from Sakchaser, all her friends, and all these people, like he's about this life. But I'm saying, like, who you ever out at? What you ever did? You couldn't even take charge. If you don't sit your down and don't ever come for me, because my credentials is real. It ain't even a joke. So don't ever try to come for me, because I don't even play them type of games. Like, what you got that I ain't got? Oh, you your little. I got big. At the end of the day, Melly is my child.
As everything is now starting to connect and pieces are coming together during this trial, the text messages would even continue on being shown inside of the courtroom. However, these next set of messages are 10 days after the texts that you just seen.
Okay, everyone went home. I love you. Keep doing great music. I'm proud of you. You're my heartbeat. I cry all the time. I miss you so much, but I know I have to let you grow up.
No need to cry. You think to be a millionaire.
You deserve it. You're so talented. We play your music all night. I love you.
Love you too. I see you be chilling. I love that. Keep doing you. Everything gonna be in place.
As this is where things got a little bit strange. It's obvious YNW Melly and his mom made up in that clip, exchanging I love yous to each other, but it's where YNW Melly says everything's gonna be in place, which gave people on social media a very weird feeling. YNW Melly has stated millions of times during interviews, his mother Jamie King is the most important thing in his life. Sure, the text messages don't give that impression, but YNW Melly has stated if anyone messes with his mother, then they have to deal with Melvin, which is also known as YNW Melly's bad side. The family of YNW Juvy, however, know this. They have been messing with YNW Melly now for the last week inside of the courtroom. As soon as trial started yesterday, it was reported before testimony kicked off Tuesday morning, the court learned YNW Juvy's sister allegedly reached out to YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, on social media.
What's been going on in the courtroom?
Well, Anjanette, it's been a very interesting morning. It did start off earlier with the defense bringing up an issue. Apparently, Juvy's sister posted on, I guess, one of the social media outlets, and she said that she was going to Jamie King, and so that caused a big, issue in the courtroom. It wasn't anything that we got on tape, but it did happen this morning. It was on the record, and she has a bodyguard now, so that was one of the first issues that the court dealt with this morning. And it was interesting because the judge did basically say, if you needed more security, I can get it for you. Ultimately, it was determined that the security she had, the bodyguard, was going to be enough. So
this has now led into YNW Melly's mother, Jamie King, now having a 24/7 security guard with her at all times inside and around the courtroom. This has affected YNW Melly in a huge way, making him very concerned for his mother, as within hours of the report, including hours of investigating, we would actually find the back and forth between the families of YNW Melly and YNW Juvy on social media.
Now, shout out to Reddit, because we had to do some digging to find the sister. Now, this is the sister, Ashley Monique. And let me show you the post that she had posted on Facebook, because, honey, it was quite the stir. So she posted this screenshot from Jamie King, YNW Melly's mother, and she said, "Pest control, who called about a..." Now, that was in regards to a post made by Trayvon Glass on his Instagram page, where he basically said that he's not worried about anything, and if he's come extend him. So in a nutshell, Melly's mom is calling Trayvon Glass a, and Monique replied back and says, "A is when you do something wrong and not take responsibility and then go and set somebody up because you're scared to lay down. She goes on to say that's not the case here. Fetty was Juvy's friend, not Melly. He was only around because Juvy brought him. Now in the comments, somebody says she better find something safe to do. Another person replied back and says, very well said. Another person tagged Jamie and somebody else said, come get. Now Ashley was in the comments and says she even has a bodyguard, child. Another person replied and says, yeah, she need one because she's talking like she's 200 pounds and she ain't even pushing 100. Now somebody else posted this and says she's going to need them because she in the wrong city talking. Now, I think that when Melly's defense attorneys found this, they submitted it over to the judge and basically was like, Juvy's sister's out here Melly's mom. Now, the judge did state that if Melly's mom needed security, he would issue her security, and then he found out that she had a bodyguard, and that would be sufficient enough.
The judge in YNW Melly's trial would then grant free security for Melly's mother, which Melly learned that information from his lawyer. He began smiling inside of the courtroom, as well as looking like he was crying a little bit. His lawyers knew that he was really upset about this situation, which is why it looked like his lawyer was offering a hug.
Jury entry.
The trial in general has been taking a toll on YNW Melly's mother. She has spoken out online to reveal that she's been dealing with a lot of stress ever since the trial began. This is when we would see YNW Melly comforting her inside of the courtroom.
Sorry. We'll just don't do it.
This is exactly where the family of YNW Juvy and YNW Sakchaser want Melly and his mom feeling like. If you don't believe me that Juvy's family is going after Melly in court, messing with his feelings, well, YNW Juvy's family submitted a lawsuit 4 days ago against Melly. Names mentioned in the lawsuit is Melly, his mother Jamie King, as well as his manager 100K Track. Once again, going after his mother to get a reaction from YNW Melly, as Juvy's family submitted a lawsuit, and this new lawsuit against Melly seeks millions in damages. The lawsuit argues that YNW Melly, his manager, and his mother all benefited from the passing of YNW Juvy, as they were using the hashtag #FreeMelly to promote music under the YNW label. It then continues saying, with continued financial gain, notoriety, and prospects of more, tensions began to develop between members of the YNW group, as they highlighted the video of YNW Melly's mother talking back to Sakchaser on Facebook Live that I shared earlier on in the video, claiming that this could have been a motive for Melly to do this crime, as it even goes on to mention what they believe happened to Juvy, stating, and I quote, YNW Melly was seated in the left rear seat of the vehicle where he affected Christopher Thomas, aka YNW Juvy. Following the incident, during the critical period where it was still possible to save Juvy and Sakchaser, defendants YNW Melly and Bortlen instead changed their clothing and staged the drive-by. In doing so, they destroyed evidence of their crime and manufactured evidence to support the staged drive-by by using a firearm multiple times into and around the Jeep. It continues reading further, YNW Melly's manager, Jameson Francis, and his mother, Jamie King, were involved in the cover-up to varying degrees, including hiding evidence. Then the most incriminating evidence for Melly's manager would be when it reads, defendant 100K Track assisted YNW Melly and Bortlen with the collection and disposal of the firearm that was used in the crime. So if this is true and 100K Track did dispose of the firearm, it makes his interview with DJ Academics feel very strange.
He built a real great solid team away from just being innocent because he wouldn't do such a crime. He prepared himself and got proper, defense. Their job is to handle themselves in trial, not on social media. You guys are taking it that way. If they say they got DNA in a car, I'm just gonna tell you, Melly DNA was found in the car. You're gonna think, yeah, his DNA was found in the car the day of the. Oh, he jumped in a car and his DNA was in the car. He did it, okay? But you're not gonna put the fact that this was his car for 6-7 months on those documents and dockets and just automatically be like, yo, he's fried. You don't even know what the defense is. You don't even know what the rebuttal is. You don't even know why that situation occurred. You hear ballistics flying. You don't know what the defense is. You hear this, you hear that. You get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest. 100K Track stated that Melly has great defenses, which is obviously true because there's no firearm. And if he did dispose of it, then he made the own good defenses for Melly. Even YNW Melly's reaction to hearing the evidence and no firearm was strange in the courtroom.
Why not?
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearm was used.
Okay. Do you have a...
However, just in case you still don't believe me, YNW Juvy's family allegedly got Trayvon Glass to take the stand during trial. Mind you, Trayvon was never a friend of YNW Melly. He was a friend of YNW Juvy and allegedly best friends at that. As we would even see YNW Melly's lawyers argue, the prosecutors are putting Juvy's friend on the stand without good reasoning. While doing so, Melly was giving his lawyer a very strange look.
On the stand is knowingly, Judge. They knew in the deposition, 1. 2, they knew when I put them on notice with my motion. So they had the opportunity after the deposition, 2, after my motion pointing out we violated the rule of sequestration, just not to call them. They, however, are going to continue to proceed knowing he has violated the rule and put him on the stand. So, yes, when we look at it that way, the state may be acting inappropriately.
As Trayvon was at the recording studio on that night, his job was to clarify that there was no tension between Melly, Sakchaser, and Juvy. However, he answered a very serious question that is going to affect YNW Melly, and it reads, YNW Melly's friend confirms that Melly changed clothing at Fredo Bang's house on the night of the crime.
Okay. Was that the first time you saw Melly after you guys left the studio?
Yeah.
Was Melly wearing the same clothes or different clothes than when you saw him at the studio?
It was a new day. Nah, he wasn't.
Nah, he wasn't. You guys
Wasn't wearing the same clothes.
Okay. Do you recall what he was wearing?
Just had on some shorts.
Okay. And
as here's where it gets even stranger. The lawsuit was submitted on a Saturday. Meanwhile, Trayvon didn't show up to court until Tuesday and revealed that YNW Melly changed his clothing. In the lawsuit, it states that YNW Melly changed his clothing. However, we didn't even know that evidence until Trayvon said it on Tuesday. It really makes you wonder, did YNW Juvy's family beg Trayvon to go on the stand and share that evidence?